T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Own it, own it, own it, Kong. I own it. It did.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
What is going on, you guys? Welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. I am, of course, your ERC here, Driune Santana, Driune. This is where you can always find me. This is my name. That's how you spell it. But I go with my Twitter name here now. I've kind of switched some things up a little bit. I put my Twitter name up here, Holistic, because that's the life that I live by. And of course, I'm one half of the only dominating tag team in Women's Wrestling Talk history. But of course, I'm not alone, like not ever. I got my girl, Queen Steph Hardy here, host and writer here for Women's Wrestling Talk, as well as her own D Hardy Wrestling Podcast, y'all. Stephanie, it's Friday. Rampage came on earlier, so we're here pretty early. And I mean, SmackDown came on after that. I mean, it's a lot to really get into. Both shows were okay. It's a lot of things happening. You got All-Star Week, you got drama on social media, you got, the press conference for Battle in the Valley going on. It's really a week of wrestling this weekend, and it's a lot to go over. But Stephanie, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Like, I just can't believe we're here in this weekend where all this craziness is going on. It's like every month there's always that one weekend where there's a whole lot of wrestling and a whole lot of different things happening all at once. But somehow or another, we navigate the waters as well as we can, and then we come out on the other side and we're like, huh. So hopefully this will be one of those moments. But I'm feeling fine. I'm pretty energized and ready for what's about to happen. It's been a busy week. So, yeah, I'm excited.
It has been. But, normally we start off with SmackDown here, but we want to flip it and start with Rampage because Rampage did come on earlier, like an hour earlier before SmackDown did. Sam, let it go. Okay, trust me, we'll get to why Sam is in an uproar when we get towards SmackDown. But Stephanie, take it away.
Yeah, so like Santana said and put so very eloquently, Rampage came on earlier today at 7 Eastern, 6 Central if you live on my side of the country or whatever. And it was nice for a change because I just always like it a little bit better when they make it a little bit earlier because it just makes stuff, easy. But either way, it was a really solid episode. Rampage was a slam dunk edition of Rampage because of the All-Star weekend that's taking place in Utah. And of course, TNT and TBS and WB, they're all doing all the marketing that they can to get people to watch the All-Star game, and they're even incorporated it in wrestling on this episode of Rampage. It was so funny that I thought that maybe the Elite would have came out in their Space Jam outfits that they did last time, but they actually didn't, but it's okay. They were wearing All-Star shirts, so, I understood the occasion, so it was cool. They were in Laredo, Texas, I believe. Mm-hmm. It was either Laredo
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were.
Laredo, Texas. So the episode of Rampage properly got started with Justin Roberts announcing Top Flight and AR Fox going out there. And of course, AR Fox is a friend of ours through A Love Fox, his lady love. And they were fighting against the Elite for the AEW World Trios Championships. And they all came out there with basketballs and stuff like that. And I didn't know exactly how much they were going to utilize the basketballs until the match got started, and they made it seem like Darius was actually starting off the match, and then it was I believe one of the young bucks who started off the match as well. And so the referee grabbed the ball and did sort of like the thing where he throws it up in the air, and then
Tip
I'm
off.
not I'm not well versed in basketball, guys, so forgive me. They did the thing where they sort of, tip it off and then, tip it off to the court or whatever. And they were utilizing the balls throughout the first half of the match, I can say. AR Fox was jumping with one of the balls and basically was jumping over the top rope onto the opponents and everything. He was very impressive in this match. I liked it. Top Flight was, of course, always doing their A1 action, of course. Um I know I was actually watching this with my mom, and my mom said she felt like Dante not yeah, she felt like Dante looked nervous. And I was like, oh, man, he probably was nervous. It was championship implications, right?
Right.
But this match was pretty good. They all seemed to really, mesh well as teams fighting each other. They had all kinds of high flying moves and stuff and lots of kicks and everything. So it was a really great match. There was this one impressive spot where I believe either Darius or Dante reversed reversed a suplex that Kenny Omega tried to do on him. And I was like, oh my God, that was nice. Like, it was just lots of really eye-opening moments, from all three of these men. But in the end, the Elite won with Kenny Omega hitting the one-winged angel, and they held up their titles to celebrate, of course. But they didn't really have time to celebrate for long. Oh, Joseph, thank you for watching. Thank everybody for watching on the live. But um they didn't get to celebrate for that long because they got interrupted by the House of Black in the form of Brody King and Malachi. It went black, they popped up, and then it went black again, and they disappeared. So it's pretty safe to assume that they're trying to, spook out the Elite. So this was a really good start to Rampage. It was a very basketball-y start, but it was still fun nonetheless.
Spook them out
So
is crazy.
what?
I said spook them out is crazy. Because it's felt like you speak of Space Jam. I mean, hey, a lot of spooky shit happened there in that movie
Mm-hmm.
with the aliens and all this stuff. But I think with this opener here, I like Top Flight, with AR as a trio. They
Me
both,
too.
all three of them, complement each other. Not just saying because Darius and Dante are brothers, but more so as the fact of that they mesh, like you said, really well with the Elite. Of course, we know the Elite's been wrestling with each other for a very, very long time, and they've been holding these titles since recently, not too long ago. And I think with Dante and Darius and AR, they are pretty much like some upcoming talent. Basically, they have been doing and been a part of some really interesting feuds on AEW, and so I wouldn't mind if they would have won, but of course they're going to keep those titles on the Elite for probably who really knows how long they're going to keep those titles on the Elite. But I mean, with House of Black kind of making their presence known, that what, we might want to come after those titles and the Elite. I think it's going to be really quite interesting how that transpires between whoever. I mean, don't House of Black have like another person with them?
Yes, they have Buddy Matthews, who I do believe just recently won a championship with another promotion.
Yeah.
So shout outs to him. But yeah, they have him, and then they also have I believe Julia
Mm-hmm.
Fox.
And
And I
then
believe
Julia's still around, but I'm like, I haven't seen Buddy in a minute.
yeah, he's been gone for a
Actually. So
second.
that's what I was saying. Like, unless Buddy pops up, you know what I'm saying? I'm interested in seeing what happens, when it comes down to the men and trios match together.
Yeah, me too. I think it will be very intriguing. I can already imagine Don Callis being scared of Julia. I barely paid attention to him on commentary. I just heard like a random voice and just didn't pay him any attention. I didn't know it was Don Callis until they said it was. And I was like, oh. And that was it. No shade, but I just wasn't really paying that much attention. I was focused so hard on the match. It was just like I heard talking and I knew the voices, but I didn't know Don Callis's immediately. So hey. Yeah, as long as they don't call Julia Hart some ratchet names, that's all I care about. I mean,
There are
because
the
sometimes they be going ham. But nonetheless, the Elite retained their AEW trios titles, and on the horizon they have to wait for the House of Black. So moving forward, we did hear from the Gun Bros, the new AEW Tag Team Champions, much to the chagrin of a lot of the wrestling fandom. And Lexi Nair, of course, had to talk to them and basically ask them how they felt about the upcoming tag team match that they have to defend their titles against I believe three other teams. And they basically didn't take too kindly to it, and they even called Lexi Renee, and I was just like, bro, like that's Lexi. Don't do her like that. But either way, they were talking about how they hated it, but either way, it doesn't matter who's going to win it. We're going to come out on top and all of the above. And of course, I'm more than sure they still have their beef going on with their dad and the Acclaimed. But you know, this is a chance for them to show and prove that they didn't just win those titles, you know, just for the sake of winning them. They can defend them and, you know, I guess show that they can be formidable champions if given the opportunity to really show what they have to offer instead of just, you know, being like, yeah, look at us, bro, and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's kind of what this segment did for me here. I'm still upset that they're the champions, but this is where we are, so it's okay.
I mean,
San, how did you feel about it?
gives you good heat because it gives them those shows like I said last week when we found out that they wanted to champions and stuff like that. It just gives them an opportunity to really show that they can be something or somebody other than just being known as Billy Gunn's kids. They won the titles by themselves. Their dad's not on their side at all whatsoever. And a lot of people, may feel as if like the Gunn brothers should have not won. They shouldn't, maybe. But I mean, this is great heat for them. This is great attention to bring onto them. And I mean, maybe they'll end up going, maybe they end up being a feud between them and the Acclaim once again and things like that. And even the other tag, I guess the Fatal 4-Way tag match is supposed to happen as well. So, I mean, it gives them time to, build up themselves as being a legitimate tag team, not just being brothers and stuff like that, but showing a really different attitude of them too. So, I'm here for it.
Yeah, you're right about that. So, they just got to step up and they'll figure it out. So, moving forward, we did get another segment with Mark Henry, the Hall of Famer, interviewing Orange Cassidy, the All Atlantic champion. And before really the interview could get like really cracking,
yeah,
it was interrupted by Wheeler Yuta, the ROH Pure Champion, and he was just like, "Look, like I want to challenge you to a fight for the All Atlantic Champion because once upon a time you and I were friends, but I felt like you didn't teach me anything during the time in which we were friends. So I'm so glad I left you and the best friends and went to the Blackpool Combat Club, and." Because now I learned how to be a better fighter with them than I ever did with you. But Orange Cassidy was like, yes, you're right. I didn't teach you anything because I wasn't trying to be your teacher. I was trying to be your friend. And he said, but since you want to come for the title, let's do this. And Mark Henry was just kind of watching in the back there, but this segment did seem pretty heated to me. I liked it. It seemed very intense, and of course, they did announce that these two will be fighting for the All Atlantic Championship next Wednesday, and I am looking forward to it because this is a piece of the story that I never really knew about Wheeler Yuta. I did not know that once upon a time he was connected to the Best Friends.
Mm-hmm. He used to right way before in the beginning of like last year to be exact. Yuta was a part of the best friends. He was come out with them. He had matches with them and things like that. But that was during the time where William Regal had came and he was looking and scouting for people to join, BCC. And he had Brian, he had John Moxley, and then he once I think it was Moxley. I think it was either Moxley or Brian that had the match with Yuta, and then he just kind of like joined them afterwards. And ever since then, he's still been with them, winning champions and things like that. And so it's going to be really interesting to see these two face off on Wednesday. I'm not the biggest Yuta fan at all whatsoever, but it's gonna be real interesting to see how this match is going to turn out between, I guess you could say, former best friends, if you want to put it in that terminology.
Yeah. I'm interested in seeing it simply. Yeah, I'm just really interested in seeing it because I know they're going to tear the house down. Wheeler Yuta is someone that I like action wise, but personality wise, it just seems like he's very, he's kind of mean, but then he's also kind of a little bit dry as well. So it's just like, okay, yeah,
Like,
he seems pretty straight laced.
Well, they kind of call him Wheeler useless. So,
no, that's mean though. I would never say that.
Well,
no one is ever useless. No one is ever useless in wrestling. I'll never say that now.
Hey, there are some useless people.
Shady.
There are 3 people that are useless that we're gonna get to on SmackDown.
Lord Jesus, it's so the shade. Oh. Well, just know, as for Stephanie, I would never call Wheeler Yuta useless because that's just a little bit mean. But I won't do that. I will.
Wheeler, you're useless.
Yes. And that's why you're hillistic.
Live up to my name.
Huh?
I'm living up to my name.
Yes.
Now, Drew Gulak is not useless. Now you pushing it.
No, he's not useless at all. Don't do that. Let's not be unkind in the comments. Thank you very much.
That man is a wrestling god.
Yes, he's a wrestling phenom and he's a great teacher. Shout out to him. He's creating stars. But moving forward with the rest of the show, you had Daniel Garcia versus Ricky Starks, and they showed a replay, of course, of the JAS attacking the Impractical Jokers last week and Chris Jericho, loving every minute of it or whatnot. And of course, since Ricky Starks has had a personal vendetta against the JAS and Chris Jericho, he's fighting every male member. So he's fighting Daniel Garcia now. And this match was pretty good. Like I mentioned on my collaboration episode with Black Wrestling, please go check it out if you haven't had a chance. I love Ricky Starks. Okay, he just has all of everything that you need to be a superstar, and he will be AEW champion someday, because I did learn in my conversation with Il Fam that maybe it's better to slow cook sometimes as opposed to just going straight for the thing and straight for the results that you want. It takes time. So I learned that from them. But either way, this match was really, really good. I enjoyed it. Daniel Garcia was very strategic in how he was taking down Ricky Starks, because he started injuring his leg and his knee and stuff. And so they went to like picture in picture, and they went to commercial, and then they came back from commercial. And they showed lots of moments where Daniel Garcia, tried to lock in various submissions to further hurt Ricky Starks' knee, and he even ran his knee into the steel steps. But something that's amazing about Ricky Starks is the fact that he showed great resilience here, because he fought through the pain. And every time he had like a blast of energy, he would knock Daniel Garcia down and just do everything that he could possibly do in order to beat down on Daniel Garcia. But weirdly enough, when Ricky Starks almost had him, for the 1, 2, 3, it was interrupted by Sammy Guevara, of course, sticking his nose in business that ain't his. Mm-hmm. And he wound up also getting attacked by Action Andretti. And so they started fighting outside the ring. Daniel Garcia was a little bit distracted. Ricky Starks tried to take advantage of it, but then it didn't work for a near fall. And then finally, Ricky Starks was able to win by hitting the Rochambeau on Daniel Garcia, and he wound up winning. And so after that, well, first of all, congratulations to Absolute Ricky Starks. Yeah, you're that dude. But after he won his match, Sammy Guevara had a few choice words for Action Andretti, and he said, "Look, I'm tired of him. I want to challenge him. Chris Jericho, you make it happen. I don't care what you have to do to make it happen. Tony Khan, I know you can hear me. Put me in a match with Action Andretti." And so he dropped the mic and just, posed on near the commentary desk after that happened, and that was pretty much it from there. So Sammy and Action Andretti will be fighting next Wednesday on Dynamite. But Santana, how did you feel about this match between Garcia and Ricky?
Whatever Goth Vegan Tiff was feeling, that's what I was feeling. I had to look up what shrimping meant in the Urban Dictionary.
Uh-oh. Is it something we need to put in the private chat?
I had to look it up for a minute to see. I was like, what does shrimping mean? That's why I started laughing over here. It's like from the Urban Dictionary side, it's BDSM. So
when
I read about it, it's like satisfaction. In other terminology, you want to put it that way. From what this is what the Urban Dictionary meant and said. So it's not my words, but with
it looks like
match,
looks like Goth Vegan might be bad, but she's perfectly good at it. Sticks and stones may break her bones, but chains and whips excite her. Okay.
I agree. Cheers to that. So with this match here with Daniel Garcia and Ricky Starks, I do like both of them, but I was going for Daniel Garcia because I do love Daniel Garcia. I think he's absolutely amazing, but I also do like Ricky Starks. He literally has everything when it comes to being a star, like you said. I mean, he has the look, he has the attitude, he has the in-ring ability, he has the mic skills, the in-ring skills. Like he literally just has everything that a future champion has to offer. And with him wanting to take down the entire Jericho Appreciation Society, I'm a little, on edge about it because I do feel like I'm an honorary member of that group, but we got to kick Sammy Guevara out because I can care less about him. Truly, yeah, he got to go today. But nonetheless, I thought that it was a good match, and if it happens with Jericho and Ricky Starks, I'm here for it. I am, and whatever the outcome is, it is what it is. But I'm going to end up going with Jericho anyway because Jericho is my first love when it came to wrestling. He was the first wrestler I laid my eyes on, and ever since then, I've always liked Jericho. It was just that ponytail, y'all. You just don't understand. When Jericho came out, in WWF on the Rock, and he had the half down ponytail, it was just that was it for me. So, just saying, but yeah, whatever Tiff was feeling, Goth Vegan, I relate a lot, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means. Go look it up yourself because I'm not going into any further details. If you know,
right. Yeah, it's getting really interesting up in here. But Ricky Starks came out with the win here, so this was really good. It was a pretty good showing for him. I liked it. The match was really great. So,
yeah.
I'm trying to think, was there anything in the middle? No. Moving into this match, because of course this is Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet. We got to talk about women's wrestling on Rampage. And there was a TBS Championship Open challenge between, of course, Jade Cargill, who is undefeated, if you know, versus Vertvixen, aka Glitch the Gamer in the world of WoW Women of Wrestling. So this was pretty interesting to me, because while I was watching this with my mother, she also noticed, she asked me who Jade was, and I was just like, oh, she's this girl who's like really undefeated, and she's really beautiful, and she looks like what a fresh chocolate bar looks like when you open it up at the store. That's what I said to her, and she was just like, woo, when she first saw her, and I was like, yeah. And that's how you know that you got a star, when you pull in people who really don't be watching wrestling like that, and you just like, oh, yep, Jade's a star. So, this match got started, and it felt like it got started and ended super quick, and I don't like it. Of course, Layla Gray was out there with her, rooting her on, yelling for Jade and everything. And Vertvixen looked like she was trying to, I guess, punch and do a couple of things to get the advantage, but it seemed like Jade just really just made quick work of her, lifted her up and hit her with the Jaded, and covered her from the 1, 2, 3, and that was it. And even after she beat, Vertvixen and celebrated the fact that she is now 53-0, there was no other announcement, no other women's thing, no other challenger who might be coming for the TBS title, or nothing. And yes, Sammy, you're absolutely right. There was no announcement for women's matches just yet, and it's 2 weeks out, and that's a problem. Like, we have a lot of men's matches that have been announced, but no women's, and it's just where we're at. So congratulations to Jay for being 53-0, because I'll never take away a black woman's accomplishments. So congratulations to you for that. But I just wish there was so much more that she could have and do, and so much more that Layla could have and do too. So, San, how did you feel about this match, and how do you feel about the trajectory of Miss Jade Cargill now?
It's not really much to think when it happened in a blink of an eye, I think this is the second time that Vertvixen has faced Jade.
It is the second time, yes.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, so we run it again. Okay. It was cool, but with Jade, and I like the Jeffrey asked this question, like, who's gonna pin Jade? There's a lot of people who would love to pin Jade. Okay. But or be pinned by her. But I just feel like with Jade, having these matches and stuff like that, they're not really putting her in legitimate feuds. Like, a lot in majority of all of her title matches have been either very, very short or a little bit long, or there's a little bit of feud going on there. There's a little story happening, and then that's it. She doesn't have, any, like, I guess you can say, memorable feuds as holding this title. You may can remember some people, but can you actually sit there and say, oh, I remember what this happened in the match, I remember this little bit of storyline, and stuff like that. And it's like, you're gonna have to find or figure out what you're gonna do. I know Jay talked about, maybe or giving people time to kind of, go after the big title and stuff until it's her time, and then she'll just, either drop the title or, somebody will beat her. I don't think I would think that eventually by this time someone would have beaten her, but it's like, even when you have given people, or some of the women that have faced her have looked like they could have been like really nice competitors, but it's like the star power that Jade has and that Tony Khan sees in her, it's gonna have to be somebody bigger than Jade that's gonna have to beat her, or she can just drop the title or like relinquish it, vacate it, and then they have a tournament or something, or to figure out who will be the next TBS champion until she goes after the AEW Women's World Champion. So that's the only thing I can pretty much think of about this. But shout out to her for continuing to this streak and everything. But I would like for her to have some legitimate competitors. And even the women that do come in, they going crazy in other promotions. But when they get here, they have to be, toned down. And just to make sure that Jade continues to look dominant. They may get a little offense, or whatever, but Not Jade face. Okay, let Omar's face Jade. I mean, maybe in the universe that could happen. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. I cannot say that would be a right opponent for Jade. I mean, could you imagine Omos getting jaded? You know,
No, not at
it's just
all.
like I don't know, but I
I
mean,
have a weird theory.
hmm
And I feel like I apply this theory to just about so many different things simply because this person has yet to pop up anywhere.
hmm
But what if it's Trinity?
mm, I mean, mm, you know, it would be interesting,
Mhm.
but I don't know how she would cross over in AEW. That would be my only thing is I don't know how she's gonna cross over within the AEW's crowd and stuff like that. I feel like with her, she was extremely perfect for WWE. She Everything about her gimmick was literally like absolutely amazing, and I don't know, how it would cross over or how or what she would be, bringing to AEW. You know what I'm saying? To be someone to lose to Jade because they're gonna maybe look at Jade as being a bigger star than Trinity in
Or
AEW.
what if she wouldn't lose to Jay? What if she beat her?
I mean, if she beats her, then I feel like they're gonna keep feeding this. They're gonna give the same thing to her that they doing to Jade. They're gonna keep giving. They're gonna keep giving the same thing. Like they're gonna give short matches. They're gonna give opponents that you think don't even have a chance or an opportunity, or it. I mean, she could not even hold this title that long as Jade has. You know what I'm saying? So it's a
Mhm.
lot that kind of goes into it. I personally would not want to see her over here at AEW. Like not at all. As much as I see that goes on, within the women and their matches lately, the only thing that's been going crazy is like Dark Elevation, but it's like what's showing on TV, what's presented on TV does not make me feel like I should or I would want someone like Trinity to come over here to AEW. Like by no means necessary. And like Tiff said, God even it could be Chris Statlander. She would prefer Chris Statlander.
Yeah,
And
it
I
really
mean
could.
has been, out with injury, and stuff like that. And I know she's on her road for recovery. But I know there's been a couple of people when we talk about who can beat Jade or who can pin Jade. It's always Chris Statlander does come up in the conversation. And she is the one who hasn't really had a match with Jade because she hasn't been here because she's been injured. So I mean, once she kind of gets back on her feet and she's on the road to recovery and she is, ready to compete, she could be that opponent for Jade. But who's to say right now, especially when we're 2 weeks away from Revolution? So
Right.
I don't know, but
Yeah,
mm,
I understand your points. I understand your points. I completely get that, and your concern about that situation. I was just wondering, just to, dabble that little nugget there
mm. Well, we put some
because
barbecue sauce on it.
well, yeah, because I just feel like it was worth the conversation of having of, women who could very well, come in and challenge her.
Mhm.
But we just have to wait and see. But like I said, I would never take away from Jade's accomplishments. So she is now 53-0. And yeah, congratulations to her. And hopefully, we'll get much better for her on the horizon. Now, moving towards the main event, we had, of course, the regular interview that Mark Henry has for the main event between Dustin Rhodes and Swerve Strickland. Dustin, this is where my mom got shocked because she couldn't believe that Dustin Rhodes was still wrestling. She was like, "Is he really still wrestling?" I was like, "Yes, he is. Like for real, like full on." And it was just really interesting to see that happen because it's just like, watching my mom has watched wrestling, sort of back and forth for years through my dad. So it's just like to sort of see her be surprised at these people who are still wrestling like 20 years later. It's just like, yo, what? So yeah. Then I had to break down the story of why he was fighting Swerve, and she was like, "Oh," and I'm just like, "Yeah." So shout out to, huh?
Happy Black History Month.
Shout out to mom. But yes, Dustin basically said that, you need to get ready to go to hell, and I'm about to bring hell with me. It's time for you to get beat up and all of that. And Swerve, of course, was being mad disrespectful per usual. So this match got started and it was pretty good for the most part. Let me just say, I never thought I would ever see Dustin Rhodes hit a cold red. That was one of my favorite parts of this whole match. Watching this man hit a code red. Are you kidding? Dustin, let's stop playing with him. And then there was this other part where Dustin even tried to like hit the bionic elbow, shades of his daddy, the late American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and then Swerve ducked it and then kicked him. And I was like, oh dang, that's so sad. You got to move quicker than that, Dustin, if you finna use your daddy's move now. But then there was a point where Swerve threw him out of the ring, and then as he was trying to gather himself, he kicked him into the barricade, and Dustin was bleeding. And I was just like, oh my God, how are you bleeding right now? It was so bad. And then Dustin was even being disgusting by trying to scratch in it and bite in it. And I was just like, ew.
How are you bleeding right now? It's crazy.
It was just pretty insane. But yeah, like this match was really good. It was very hard fought between the two. You could feel the tension and the anger that they had at each other. And of course, Parker Boudreaux was out there to be the insurance policy for Swerve Strickland. And when it looked like Dustin had the match won, he pulled Dustin off of him and into the ring and outside the ring and started beating up on him and whatnot. And as that was going on, they were also preparing to take out like a cinder block and attack and injure Dustin Rhodes the same way that they injured Keith Lee. And just when it looked like all hope was lost and like Dustin was about to go to the hospital, guess whose music stars? Keith Lee, the Limitless One, with his gray hair grown out at that. He popped out there and snuck up on him the same way he used to do in NXT, where he would just creep up on folks and just be like, what up? Like, that's what he did. And he started beating up on them and whatnot. And then it was too much for Swerve. He couldn't believe it. And then there was even one point where Keith was about to punch him in the back of his head, but then Parker Boudreaux pushed Swerve out the way and took the bullet for him. And then they rolled out and ran away. And I was like, you don't like it. So Keith Lee helped Dustin Rhodes up and helped him to gather himself as Swerve and Parker Boudreaux sort of stared back at them in anger. And that's essentially where the match ended. That's really where it ended. And then there was another impressive part where in the match where Dustin actually hit the crossroads, and I was just like, oh my God, yay. Family moves. I just love it.
You gotta love
but
it.
Yeah. It came to no contest. The match came to no contest due to DQ because of Parker Boudreaux interfering. But Keith Lee is back.
He is. He
is.
is.
So Stan, how did you feel about how did you feel about the match and all of that?
The match was cool. I mean, it was bound. I didn't think they was gonna do this match this quickly. I thought maybe it was gonna be a little bit more build to it. But I mean, the way that it ended in a no contest, it just kind of basically means that Keith Lee is definitely on the side of Dustin Rhodes, and that maybe somewhere down the line we're going to be seeing Keith Lee and Swerve take place at Revolution. And I'm eager to see what happens. I mean, the man is stressed. He got his gray hair out. He didn't do his just for me, and he didn't. He was just like, you know what, we're going. I didn't know what the hell was going on, to be honest. I was like, dang, Keith, you are really grayed out, my guy. But I don't mind it. I'm here for the lit salt and pepper. But it was cool. Parker, I'm glad the other weird guy wasn't out there with all the tattoos and
excuse me.
He just looks scary to look at. Like he makes my nerves bad, honestly, whenever he's out there. I would never want to meet that man in person, to be honest. I was just like, I might hit him with a frying pan or something and run away. Like it's just, like I don't like that. I don't like that. No. I don't like that. That is a scary sight to see. To be honest, I would hate to even be up that close to him and like, no. It's just no. I'll pass on that offer, but no. I'm good on that. But this was a good match. I enjoyed it. Happy Black History Month. But of course, this feud is going to continue on. And like I said, it's a possibility that something could happen at a resolution between Keith Lee and Swerve, or maybe all four of them. Maybe the other weirdo guy will come back and they'll have a third person, and they'll just all fight it out in the Falls Count Anywhere. Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, you wrong for asking her that question. Y'all trying to make me weak tonight.
Honestly, because see, Uncle Howdy in that jump scare situation, I've recovered. I've been in my healing process from that for a couple of weeks now. But with this guy here, he looks like this every day. Like, he wakes up and looks exactly like that. When he comes on this TV screen, he looks like that. If you walk up to him and see him in person at a show, he looks like that each and every day. Now, unless Uncle Howdy is doing jump scares at people every day, then I don't know. Both of them is worse than each other. Because, Lord, you just had to bring that up. Now I have PTSD because of you, Jeffrey. Thank you. Now I'm finna go cry in my corner because of you. I really just...
No, Santana, no. Stay in your happy place.
I'm gonna go do some rituals or something, because that man was like the devil, and Uncle Howdy is something else.
Stay in your happy place.
Wow, and you see, now I don't care.
Lord,
we're gonna talk about Uncle Howdy tonight anyway, so whatever. I don't have time for this. Okay,
but yeah, I can't.
Okay, I'm gonna
wait. For Keith. Yes,
I'm feeling better.
I literally cannot wait for Keith Lee to really get his official lick back, because Swerve didn't have to do him the way he did him like that. He did not have to do that to him, and he was just being extra and mean for no reason. And I'm just ready for Keith Lee to really get his lick back. I cannot wait without shenanigans, okay? So I was really happy to see Keith Lee back with his gray hair, because sometimes in life you just got to realize that maybe who you naturally are is enough, okay? And even though, you might dye your hair to make yourself look younger or something like that, there comes a point where you just really feel like you just got to let it grow out. My grandma did that a long time ago. She was just like, you know what? I'm a grandma. I'm a great grandma. I'm going to let it go. And Keith Lee may not be a grandfather or even a great grandfather. In fact, he's not even a father. But if this is a part of him that he wants to let show, then I'm here for it. It's natural and it's his, and that's all that matters. Okay. And that's pretty much what ended Rampage. That's the end of the show.
Child. Well, the end of Rampage wise, we got to talk about SmackDown, you guys, because of course we do know that SmackDown, I mean, they were in Canada tonight. And of course, this is the night before Elimination freaking Chamber. And I mean, This is where the part where, like I said, sometimes we're backwards now. So like now we're on the SmackDown side of things. And I mean, let's really just like dive into the show. I mean, there's a lot to really, I wouldn't say a lot to really unpack, but SmackDown was a cool show overall. Nothing really too much that kind of made me kind of get really into and prepare for what to expect for Elimination Chamber, but I'm here for it. But we did start the show out tonight with the women. One of them will be a part of the Elimination Chamber. Natty, who is in her home country. And of course, Shotzi was her tag team partner against Shayna and Ronda Rousey in a tag team match. This was really cool opening up. It's really much kind of, established Shayna and Ronda being a tag team. And I would have thought that Natty would have won because they are in Canada and everything like that, but she did not. And it was really interesting and yeah, I wouldn't say funny, but it really interesting to see Ronda actually take that DDT that her and Shotzi tried to do, once before, but it didn't, translate on screen. By no means necessary. But this time it did, and Ronda ended up kind of landing on her head, and the crowd was very happy that I guess she landed on her head. But nonetheless, they did not win the match at all whatsoever. Shayna and Ronda, they won. And does this really kind of establish Shayna and Ronda as being like an official tag team? Kind of sucks that Natty lost before Elimination Chamber, but
Yeah. This was kind of an interesting choice. I will say that, because not only was Natty, in her home country, it's just that when it comes to Ronda and Shayna, like on commentary, they did mention how they could be, running roughshod over the women's tag division and stuff. So I think they're probably alluding to the idea that maybe they're going to be a proper tag team, which I'm not necessarily opposed to, because it would give Ronda something else to do outside of inserting or shoehorning herself into like the SmackDown women's title picture. So that's going to give her something else to do. And at least, and in that match when she did have that spot with Shotzi, I was like, well, at least she learned her lesson from last time. So, we live and we learn, and that's okay. But I feel like when it comes to Natty losing, I almost feel like tonight they were giving off the impression it almost felt like they were trying to break up the idea of whoever wins or doesn't win could not win in the Elimination Chamber, or could win. So it's just like, it's almost like they're trying to like destroy our trail and just, oh, you think you have the answers. No, you don't. So I think that's kind of what they were doing here. But either way, this match was pretty solid for the most part. It was a good start.
Yeah, I thought Natty would have got the win like a lot of everybody else thought, because she was in her home, country and everything like that. But it didn't, turn out that way. I know Sam is asking where the tag team titles, and well, I mean, the EO and Dakota, they're not defending them because Dakota is slightly injured. So like, you can't just really have a throw out tag team championship opportunities without an actual tag team. I mean, somewhere down the road, the rumor, like we said last week, was the fact that it could be Shayna and Ronda facing Dakota and EO at WrestleMania for those tag titles. But honestly, who knows? Jeffrey said, I thought Ronda had a concussion tonight. I mean, she landed her head pretty bad, but she seemed to be all right throughout the rest of the match. So I guess we're figured out. Of course, we've got...
Also, I want to know if the...
Go ahead.
I also want to know if that submit shirt is hers or does it belong to someone else, because I kind of like it.
It might have been. Yeah, but they're not looking at Damage Control as like the New Day. You know what I'm saying? They're not looking at it as like, oh, well, if one person is injured, then boom, this other person. Like, they're not looking at it like that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, Bayley's there, but Bayley got other shit going on. Well, it may be hers. I don't know how. They didn't clarify to say that was her title too. You know what I'm saying? And I don't. They're not showing it. They're not trying to show that. They look at Bayley as still being a singles competitor, not necessarily being her in the faction, but also a tag and all that other stuff there. Like, they're not looking at it that way.
Yeah, they're not under the Freebird rule.
No, so that's the case. Then they would have been defending the title somewhere, some way. But that's not how they're looking at it. But I don't know. That's why Trish didn't return yet, because she was going to set up something. That is very true. And Dakota injury may be legitimate, so that's throwing a monkey in the wrench too. That's true. To be honest, I would rather have Candice, LeRae, and Indy fight off EO and Dakota for the tag team titles at WrestleMania or something. Well, that's only if they choose to bring Indy Hartwell up. Indy has been down in NXT for a while, and she's the only one that hasn't been really brought up, and everybody else is kind of really treating her like an NXT veteran down there. Yeah, unlike the Death Toll and Impact, we don't know if Bailey can sub for Dakota if the injury is real. That's true. They haven't really, like I said, they haven't really made that, connection yet or said anything. So I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, so we got this here. Of course, Roman Reigns and Sami Part 1. Really, the big story is the whole thing is about Sami and Roman Reigns, and we really just got like a lot of we got from the beginning parts of things up until we get to our part 2 going into later on tonight. Just the backstory. If you haven't been here since the beginning, I'm not going to run back down what happened. You just have to go back and watch the playlist that WWE got on their YouTube channel, because they literally have a whole hour of a damn movie for y'all to see what has transpired. So I'm not going back. If you don't know, then I don't know what to do. But we do know that our SmackDown Women's Champion, the Queen, Charlotte Flair, will be the honorary race official at Daytona's 500. Daytona 500, yeah. So on Sunday at 1 p.m., I think that's 1 p.m. No, yeah, 1:30 to be exact, Central Time, and 2:30 Eastern, and so on and so forth. So yeah, we will get Montreal Screwjob 2.0. We might, but we don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. It's possible, but who knows? But shout out to Charlotte. Hope you guys will be in tune and watching that to see Miss Flair do her thing out there. And I don't know what she's going to wear, but I'm pretty sure she's going to look really nice.
God bless it.
Yes, my favorite part of the freaking show, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. All right. So I know Sam is going to put in everything in all caps. He already started. I'm calling corporate, whatever. So we get here. Hero is out. I guess doing a talent show for everybody out here in Montreal and everything. And well, it didn't really turn out the way that they thought it was going to turn. Because, wait, what does that say? Did it say they're a flop? Oh, does it say Top Dollar is a flop? Oh my God, I did not see that. Child. This is depressing all the way. But I thank the Lord I was on my way home when this was happening. And shout out to Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt for getting rid of this mess off of my screen. Honestly, I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Bray Wyatt, and thank you, Uncle Howdy. I have forgiven you. You have redeemed yourself from scaring me 2 weeks ago. But yeah, so he comes out and they got rid of Hero and everything. And basically, to kind of sum it up, is the fact that he's going to be watching really closely to whoever wins between Brock and Bobby Lashley. And I'm very interested in seeing if he shows up tomorrow and, does something. Like, does Hunka Howdy show up on who? Does the match for Bobby and Brock end in clean and in a no disqualification? Like, what is it in then? You know what I'm saying? And I'm eager to see, what's going to happen with that there. But I really have nothing else much to say. But thank you, Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy, for getting those people off my screen. The worst rap ever. I swear. I don't know. I don't even know why they even had them to come out there and do that. Jesus Christ. Sam is very livid in the comment section, but he will be all right because corporate is not answering none of his calls at all whatsoever. And I can tell you right now, Adam Pearce does not give a damn. Same way Michael Cole does not give a damn. Same way a lot of other people or some other people do not give a damn. I'm telling you, I'm here to tell you right now, Sam. A lot of people do not care.
There's so much to say about this segment here. To start from the hit row component of it. Them rapping out of nowhere was a little bit random for me because I was just like, okay, why are y'all okay? Where did this come about? Are we doing a cipher? What's going on? Like, what is this? And they just started, rapping, and then and then I guess maybe it's because of where I was sitting, with the TV or whatever. I couldn't even really hear the instrumental. And then
Mhm.
it was just like after that point, they were rapping and saying stuff or whatever, and then, of course, Bray Wyatt came out there and just interrupted them, and it felt like B-Fab was the smartest one out of the whole hit row because she moved completely out of the way and got out of there and everything. But the other two, they just basically like got beat up, and it's such a shame because when I think about Hit Row and I think about the conversation I was having with the wrestling realm on our collaboration episode this week, they were talking about their reasoning as to why they feel like I think it was Dwayne, he was talking about his reason why he feels like Hit Row really isn't hitting as much as they feel like they should is because I think he was saying that he sort of feels like Hit Row sort of fits an era of rap that no longer is prevalent, or an era of hip hop that isn't exactly prevalent at this point. So it's just like not resonating with people as well because it's continued to evolve into something that's a little bit more than just where the type of area that they were represented on. So it's just not really hitting as well. And I was just like, and I thought that was a very interesting concept to say because I had never really thought of it in that way. But at the same time, it's just like it how long are they going to keep getting embarrassed on television? Because it's not fair. Like, it's not that I feel like it's not fair. I just feel like it's just really sad how this just keeps happening to them. It's like they turn heel, you insult Canada, and then you get beat up and thrown out by Uncle Howdy and Brad. And it was just like, y'all, this isn't working. This isn't working. And it makes me so sad because I want it to work. I absolutely want it to work because it's black talent. I want black talent to do great things. But it just feels like every time they're on television, they just get embarrassed or beat or whatever. And it's just like they deserve better. Like they really do deserve better. Like mm, I felt sorry for them here. I felt really sorry for them. I feel like every week I feel more and more sorry for them the more they get embarrassed on TV. And it's just like who keeps telling them to get embarrassed like this? Who keeps doing who what why? Help.
Help them to stay off my screen because they need to figure it out. And honestly, they do rap in the era of music that no longer exists. I feel like if Hit Row was around when Salento was out, the Stanky Leg, all those little dance songs, the like the rejects when Cat Daddy was out, when Soldier Boy was doing his dances, and so many different crank decks and all that stuff. Like I feel like if Roscoe Dash, if
Ooh.
Hero was like around if they were relevant around that time, they may have it may have crossed over. But at this time, it's like a bunch. It's like an adult a kids bop, basically. It's an adult kids bop rap group, Hit Row. That's exactly what it is. They dress like overgrown children that shop at City Trends. And, it's just not saying nothing's wrong with City Trends, but it's just a simple fact of it's giving its fashion. It's giving very much rainbow. It's giving very much like, I shop at Roses, thrifty, I don't know. Like, it's trash. No, please keep R-Truth away from them. No. Y'all tried it with the Street Profits, and it's just awful. Sam, you're not bringing your ass in here. I'm sorry. You might be going to cancel that, sweetheart. You better go talk about Hit Row on your Twitter. You're not coming up in here. I do apologize. You're not coming up in here. Because we're going to move on away from the thrifties.
But there is something I do want to say about Bray Wyatt though. Why does he randomly I feel like it's low key random that he went ahead and challenged Bobby or Brock though. Like what's your beef with them?
He said, "You know what? I'm just gonna move around. Let's try some other people. Let me go out the." Excuse me? Carmelo needs who? If you're trying to say that Carmelo needs Hit Row,
no,
you gotta be you really gotta be joking and playing with yourself right now. There is absolutely no way that you honestly think that Carmelo needs Hit Row. Carmelo's winning champions. The man's making accomplishments on his own before Hit Row has ever done. So he doesn't need Hit Row. Hit Row would need him. And even with that, they still wouldn't be him. Because Melo don't miss. But Hit Row, they've been missing since they came back. So,
and also from a logical perspective, and also from another logical perspective, Carmelo does not rap, so it wouldn't make any sense for him to be in a rap group. Don't just slap him together with the other black group just because he's black and they have attitude. That doesn't mean that they belong together, okay? Let's stop that now. Let's stop it. Him and Trick are fine. They don't need to be in Hit Row. They don't rap. They're athletes. And yes, they do give great black representation for black men. That's very current. But don't just slap them with Hit Row just because they're black and they have attitude just like Hit Row does. Don't do that.
Yeah,
that's too simple. Let's not.
Yeah, trying to get me routed up, and I don't want to be routed up. But no, Carmelo is doing perfectly fine where he is. He does not need Hit Row by no means necessary. Nobody needs Hit Row. I don't even need Hit Row on my TV screen, but they keep coming. They're like roaches. You can't get rid of them. You go around, you exterminate your damn house, and they still pop up in your goddamn cracks. Absolutely not. But I don't know. If Bray Wyatt, going to keep his eyes on Brock and Bobby's match tomorrow, and if he shows up after the fact, I'm not mad at it. But we move on here to some tag team action because y'all not finna make my ears just curl up. I don't have time for this. No, I'm not welcome. I really don't want it. Like, I hope they lose in front of you when you go and see them. So we get here because we have Drew and Sheamus versus the Viking Raiders, Eric and Ivar, and it was a really cool match. It was really intense with these four guys. Really nice match. It was cool. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But there's no doubt in my mind that I didn't think that Sheamus and Drew was not going to win. I mean, they could have lost, they could have, but it was really cool. With these guys, they did a really good job. I would have to say. Sam, we already went past Hit Row. Like, what are you saying? We on a new segment. Stop booing your people that you like. But yeah, so this was a pretty cool match. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's always nice to see Drew and Sheamus in this match, together. I don't know why people think that it's going to be Drew and Sheamus versus Gunther at WrestleMania. Like, I don't know where that rumor came from. By no means necessary. I really don't. But Sam, you don't know who you like, to be honest. You be like, I don't like this person, but then you be like, why ain't they doing this or why am I doing that? If you spend more time focused on your own people, maybe they'll be accomplished something. But they're not. So, but Stephanie, what did you think about this match here?
It was very hard hitting for the most part. I liked it. It was basically what you could come to expect, from all four of these men. It's like you have big medium men slapping meat, but in the best way possible. Like, this was a pretty good match. I liked it. It was really good. I mean, I'm really glad that Drew and Sheamus actually came out with the win and got their lick back, because Viking Raiders have been giving them all kinds of hell ever since the tournament. So I'm glad they did get their lick back. So yeah, it's been cool. I like it. Drew, Sheamus, yay.
It's all about getting your lick back, honestly. Yeah, they have, but I'm like, I don't even know, child. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, I don't know. They're trying to tease Gunther and Brock for that, so. But so here we are for part 2 of this, Sami and Roman, and I mean, of course, all things lead up to what happened at Royal Rumble, and this is why we're here now for Elimination Chamber, and like I said, they have a whole saga of this. It's not gonna be in touchable of like Fast and Furious sagas, but it's close enough. Close enough, honestly. But it does have you like really interested to see, what the outcome is going to be between Roman and Sami. The build up, the story from beginning up until now is just kind of like, wow, here the hell we are, honestly. But we get here because you have to say.
I did have something to add with the replay of the Sami Roman saga that happened at the Royal Rumble. My mom was watching it. She was like, "Yeah, your dad was telling me about this," but she didn't watch it happen. So her watching it tonight was her first time seeing it happen, and she was just like, and she could not stop looking at the TV, and I was just like, "Oh my god!"
Was she looking at what happened? Like,
yeah, like she heard about it because Dad had told her about it, but she didn't watch it until tonight.
Yeah. Okay.
And she was just like, "Man, that's crazy." And I was just like, "Yeah, we've been going through it." But yeah, it was cool.
I don't know I don't know what you mean by Roman gets everyone over he works with. I don't know what you mean by that, Jeffrey, because a lot of people that Roman has faced have been way better than him. But y'all hype that man up. But we get here for this very, very nice part that we saw last week. Santos and Ray shared a very nice moment together. I mean, the passing of the mask. It was really nice, honestly, and I would love to see Santos and Ray in a match with each other. Honestly, this was there was so much respect here. Being Mexican descent or whatever. And the culture, and we know how the mask and everything, how much it means to their culture, the lucha culture, and everything like that. So it was really nice to see this, honestly, truly. You can tell that Santos has a lot of respect for Ray, and it's nice to see Ray still be around and moving, and doing his thing. They showed this in between the interview that he was having backstage before Karrion shows up and ruins everything, honestly. And it's just like, you already lost. What more do you want? What more do you want? Okay? Jesus. Why are you here? Go do something else. I am sick of hearing. I'm sick of him, but I do like his theme because I've been singing it lately. Fall and pray. But I want you to go fall and pray somewhere else off Ray. That's how about that? Your ass away from over here.
Jesus.
Nobody asked you to come back. Nobody asked you to come back over here. Leave that man alone. Go do something else, please. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of him. Do something else. But Stephanie, do you have any thoughts on Mr. Karrion Kross and how he keeps putting himself in front of Ray?
Yeah, a part of me wondered why this was happening again, because I do believe Ray did beat him, but then somehow or another something happened and I forgot what happened with this feud for a second, because it just felt like they had a one-off match, and then after that they scrambled and started focusing on Rumble things, of course. And then after that, it just kind of ended, and then they didn't really do anything else. And then Karrion and him and Santos, I think, had a triple threat or something, and then it was just, I don't know. I just feel very confused about why he still has beef with him. It's weird because he was telling him, how he was still using the whole father dynamic, and I was just like, Karrion, how many times are you going to throw the father thing in this man's face? It's like, it's already bad enough that he had his Valentine's Day date, interrupted with his wife by his crazy estranged son and his girlfriend, who needs to refocus on what actually matters in life. And it's already bad enough that's going on. Why he doesn't need you coming at him either and talking about all the reasons, like talking about why he's the reason why you thought about not having kids or whatever. Okay, that's a personal choice. Ray ain't got nothing to do with that. Okay, so why are you in his face again? Why are you throwing up the fatherhood thing again? Like, why? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And yeah, this is going to lead to them fighting next week, but at the same time, I'm trying to figure out, bro, what's the point?
I think Karrion got daddy issues. Like, maybe he grew up without his father, or maybe he feel like the way that Ray or, is with Dominic or whatever. This is the he feels. I'm like, what are you like? Bray didn't even do anything. Dominic turned on him. He joined the people who was beating on him and his dad every damn week, every chance they got, and still in multiple occasions. Like, get out this man's face, honestly.
And honestly, JD, oh god, yeah. That's what I mean. Like, bro, like, stop. But I will say this though: the segment before that with Ray and Santos, when I saw
Yeah.
that last week online, I felt like I was watching something sacred happen.
Yeah.
That was so beautiful. I was just like, oh my god, they're trading masks. I feel like this is a big deal, even though I might not fully understand the context.
Yeah.
Due to me being on the outside looking in, of course, but I still felt like I was looking at something sacred happen. And I feel like hopefully this will, light more of a fire underneath Santos's soul in terms of him as a wrestler, because I want to see him flourish and be great, and maybe that'll do the thing for him. So yeah.
It's possible. Sorry if I'm rubbing my eyes, y'all. My eyes itching really bad. Sometimes you ever get that itch in your eye, and you just start rubbing it, it just feels like so good, child. All right.
That's me in the spring.
Whew. I don't know what is going on, but she didn't stop itching, Lordy. I'm serious. What's Dominic and Rhea's gonna mess up next for St. Patrick's Day? I don't know if they celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
They gonna mess up Easter.
I thought that was for the Irish.
They gonna mess up Easter.
I mean, seeing Cross on TV does that, Santana. Well, I don't know. It might be Cross because now my eyes are getting cross-eyed. Okay.
Can you imagine him rolling up in church?
Oh, Jesus, no.
Messing up Easter.
Let me tell you something. You do not come and mess with the Hispanics at church. They take it sacredly, okay? You do not mess with them at church. They're gonna lay all hands on you. Everybody will. So
I want to see that happen.
Jesus Christ. But back to the women, because this is women's wrestling talk here. We had Asuka and Liv, two competitors that will be trying to get their opportunity to win the Elimination Chamber tomorrow to face Bianca Belair at WrestleMania for her Raw Women's Championship. And I hate that I said Raw like that because it feels very Italianish. But so this was a really good match. It just this fact of that every goddamn body that's a part of the chamber is out here. Carmella's on commentary. Nikki Cross is sitting on not only Wade Bear's lap, but also the table too. You got Raquel out there. You got Natty coming out. It's just, I don't even know what to say. And despite the match with Liv and Asuka, it was fairly good. It was really nice. A lot of nice sequences and everything like that. And well, it didn't turn out too well for Liv because she did end up losing the match. And while all of the other women decided they wanted to get involved and be all the chaos and stuff like that, Liv and Asuka were the only two left standing. Nikki was kissing and hugging Michael Cole, and Michael Cole just like, Nikki, please get off me. It's like, please get the hell off me. Like, honestly, what the hell are you doing? Get off of me today, please. But this kind of just gives us, get everyone a little bit ready for Elimination Chamber. To be honest, I mean, this match here, Asuka and Liv being the ones who were left standing tall, does this kind of indicate that they could be the ones to start off in the chamber, or could they be the last two standing in the chamber?
It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. It's just so hard to predict. Like they could be the last two standing. Mm-hmm. But it's just so hard to say because you have Raquel there with all of her power and, all of her drive. And then you also have, the unhinged levels of crazy from Nikki. It's just so hard to say for me. Like this one is really hard to predict. It's not hard to predict, but at the same time, if it did come down to Liv or Asuka, I wouldn't be surprised because Asuka really is my favorite to win this match. So I really feel like it really might be Asuka's time, even though a lot of podcast people are saying that their favorite to win is Raquel.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's just kind of hard to tell. And I didn't expect all the women to be out here, considering I know Carmella was out there, and I thought that was a little interesting little segment for her to be on commentary. And then I thought it was funny how she told Michael Cole and Wade that she was basically married to the greatest color commentator of all time, in Corey Graves. And I was like, girl, no, the greatest color commentator of all time is me. But moving forward,
Yeah.
either way,
Mhm.
it was kind of interesting how all of them were out there, but my favorite to win is Asuka, so we just got to see.
Well, Sam, who allegedly likes Liv Morgan, stated that she is going to.
Allegedly.
Yeah, see, y'all don't understand. Sam be capping about some people that he like. His whole thing was hero, hero, hero. We literally have a whole list of people that Sam said he does not like, and yeah, use it to your advantage. And it's a long list, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not hero, he don't care about you. But he allegedly likes Liv Morgan now again. And so I mean, I don't know who is everybody that keeps thinking that Asuka's going to insert herself into the Rhea and Charlotte Flair match for Mania. I don't think that's going to happen. Jeffrey said Asuka and Liv as last two. I mean, it's possible. Sam said he's going to laugh if it's Liv. I'm going to laugh if Liv gets eliminated, like I always do. I can see why they were start the match and didn't win. Yeah, but in chambers, sometimes people who do start the match off don't necessarily win. It's happened before. JD said I would love to, I guess, Liv as one of the last two standing would help make her title reign less flukish, since she was also one of the last two at the Rumble. That is very true. I don't know. I need to see the crazy, insane Liv Morgan again, because she was doing so good when she went to that dark place and started doing things in extreme level.
That's true.
He flip flops more than the Big Show, very much so. Liv is my favorite too, and Triple H better have gotten my CC. Yeah, honey, that's in the trash and in the spam box. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll figure out what happens tomorrow in the Elimination Chamber. I am going with Asuka to be the one to win this. But if it happens to be Raquel, then I mean, hey, it is what it is. I wouldn't be upset at it either. If Liv wins, I hope Bianca beat the hell out of her. So we get here, because this is
the savagery, Jesus.
We get here for the main event. But before we get into the main event, I'm gonna go over the matches that were announced next week and things like that. So, of course, we know Rey Mysterio will take on Karrion Kross next week. We also do know that Firefly Funhouse will be back next week too, as well as finally, we get the face-to-face with Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. I don't know how this is gonna go, but I'm excited to see. I really am. I really, really am.
Me too.
So I know that I want to go back, because I know Joseph had asked this question about what about Tony Twitter fingers, some kind of stuff. Cause I mean, Tony called him a fraud, and well, here we are. He was in the audience of WWE, so he probably is gonna, talk about it in his announcement come Wednesday for the Dynamite. But
I don't understand. I just don't understand why are you calling him a fraud? Because he's doing his job. Like what?
Well, I guess. Well, from what I read on it and what I was told was the fact that he did an interview earlier in the interview with Tony Khan, and basically in the interview he wasn't asking or answering the questions that he was asked, and it just it's kind of a little bit frustrating when you're doing an interview with someone and certain questions or a question that you're asking, they're just kind of like not answering, or Tony Khan can be very long-winded and literally say a bunch of nothing. Honestly, truly, he really can. And so he just felt like he kind of just, I guess he got heard around that he was talking about him and stuff like that, and he just went on Twitter and called him a fraud, and the man ended up being up there on TV on WWE. So I don't know. That's their issues. I have no idea what's going on. Just leave it alone. But since we're turning back to WWE, we did have our Intercontinental Championship with the winner Madcap Moss versus Gunther. With Emma out there supporting her man in every way that she could. This match was really cool. It was all right. It was straight. It's kind of a nice way to see a new, fresh face facing Gunther. And Madcap, he didn't do too bad, even though he did not get the victory in Gunther's Senior Intercontinental Championship. He did the best that he could. But goddamn, who's gonna be able to beat Gunther? Because he's I don't know, man. That man got choked out. So yeah, I don't know. But what did you think of this match? I mean, did you think that Madcap had a chance?
Not initially. I didn't think he had that much of a chance against Gunther. But at the same time, I figured that Madcap Moss was going to give it a good old college try, and that's exactly what he did. He did. He tried as much as he possibly could have, to win. And Gunther had actually mentioned, some of his abilities that he saw from Madcap Moss, during his training, I guess, down in NXT when they were in NXT together on his interview with After the Bell on Corey Graves' show. So he had a lot of respect for what Madcap is able to do in ring, which a lot of people, I guess, when watching television don't necessarily know or focus that much on because of his character work. But yeah, some of that was on display here, so I wasn't completely shocked at how he held himself down in the match. But I just knew that Gunther was going to win. And I'm also glad that he didn't cheat to win too. So yeah, that was really good. So Gunther's that guy right now. I don't know exactly who could take it off of him either.
I don't know. It's bound to happen. He did an excellent job in the Royal Rumble for that to be his first one, coming out as number one and all this and that. So I'm enjoying Gunther's run. I'm excited to see who else steps up to the plate to face him for his title and in the near future and things like that. So who knows? But we are at our last segment of tonight, where Sami Zayn comes home, and not only does he come home, he brings back his old theme song, ladies and gentlemen. And I mean, the crowd here went crazy. I mean, Sami couldn't even speak for a while. Like, he couldn't say absolutely nothing because the crowd was just going crazy. I mean, they even muted the crowd. Well, they even muted the whole TV because I guess they were using inappropriate language or what. But they were really, really wild and crazy and loud. And I'm just this I was talking to others. I was like, this kind of gives me how it was at Clash of the Castle when it was Roman versus Drew McIntyre, and the crowd was going crazy because they was in Drew's territory, and it was just they were loud, they were cursing, they were doing all kinds of things, and it's just well, damn. I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, but Sami did declare that tomorrow is the day that I end you, Roman. I take you down, and I don't know what is going to happen. I have absolutely no idea, but Sami need to cut his hair. I know that for tomorrow. And he needs to go. Yeah, it's a must. He needs to cut their hair tomorrow. And if it does happen, I'm cool with it. But I mean, this here is just man, we didn't have any Roman tonight. We didn't have no Usos tonight. We didn't have nobody else part of the bloodline here tonight at all whatsoever. It was just a nice, come home for Sami. And I mean, man, I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow for the Elimination Chamber, but I'm really into it. I'm really eager and interested to see, this match with Sami and Roman and what's gonna happen and who's gonna interfere. Are the Usos really banned? Will Solo show up? Is Kevin Owens gonna come back and help a friend? what is going to happen is the thing, you know. I don't know.
I'm so excited because
It does have an interest.
when Sammy came out there with that old music, I lost it because that is like that used to hype me up a whole lot, and then it's just like if you watch him from the beginning of his NXT career, that was the
Yeah.
song. Like, oh, that made me so excited. And he came out there in that shirt that they gave him at the hockey game.
Mhm.
And it was so beautiful to see everybody just cheering for him to the point to where he couldn't even talk. And I thought, sitting here thinking about, how he was up there and them chanting and, chanting at him and showing him love reminded me of the time Roman Reigns beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania and everybody booed him so hard that he couldn't even talk.
Child.
Like, it's almost like a weird parallel in that way. How Roman was booed so much when he beat The Undertaker that he could barely talk. And now you fast forward with this story that's driven by Roman, but then there's Sammy here and he's getting cheered in his hometown to the point where he can't even talk. So it's just a really funny parallel in that way. And I just loved it when Sammy got up there and started talking. And I hated it. I hated that they had to mute the television or mute the program for whatever it was they were saying because I wanted to hear it. But I loved hearing Sammy, speak in French to everyone. And somebody translated on Twitter because he said, "Tomorrow night you're in my effing house." And I said, "Yes, you better say that in French." Okay, that's how you know you mean business. When you say it in your native tongue, come on, come through, come through, come through.
Right.
Step through, Sammy. Step through. I'm so happy for him. I'm happy that he's having this moment. I was happy when he was crying. I thought I was gonna cry, but seeing as I've already cried today, I just didn't want to cry again. So it was just too much. But either way, Sammy just looked like an absolute star here, and he deserved to have this moment in his hometown, home country with his home people. Like it was just so beautiful. Now, will this beauty translate into tomorrow? We'll just have to see. But we'll always have this moment. We'll always have it.
It's gonna be quite interesting what happens. But that's pretty much how SmackDown ended, ladies and gentlemen. To be honest, we're on the high of Elimination Chamber, also Battle in the Valley too. So I mean, it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens tomorrow within both pay-per-views and stuff like that. So that's pretty much how SmackDown ended. And we do thank you guys so much for hanging out with us here. It was really cool going over Rampage and then going over to SmackDown and stuff like that too. We do appreciate you guys hanging out with us. I mean, we had up to 15 people up in here, Y'all was really coming in and hanging out with us to talk wrestling and talk about what's going on within the show and everything like that. I'm gonna need y'all to pull up on all after shows like this. Okay.
Yes.
Please do. We will be having an Elimination Chamber post show tomorrow, as well as the Battle of the Valley will take place on Sunday. So definitely stay tuned for that. There will be a post show tomorrow for Elimination Chamber. So I hope you guys come in, tune in, and we also have a big rundown for Sunday too. We're going to have a Battle of the Valley post show. We're also going to be concluding our Nikki Bella Says I Do episode 3 and episode 4 for the season finale of the last episode and the last show for this year. It's been a fun ride. Fun 4 interesting weeks with that show, but yeah, and we also do have Tournament Glam 2 taking place later within that night as well. So like Sunday is a very booked show here for Women's Wrestling Talk, so definitely come in, stay tuned. It's coming kind of back to back wise, so you definitely don't want to miss anything. And we do really appreciate you guys for coming in and supporting us like you guys always do. Whether you're watching our shows or chatting with us on Twitter, Instagram, things like that, we really, really do appreciate it here. And yeah, so Stephanie, let everyone know where they can keep up with you at, girl.
Well, of course, I love being here every Friday night with you, Santana, talking about SmackDown and Rampage, or in this case tonight, Rampage and SmackDown. But yeah, you can not appreciate me. I'm sorry, I was reading the comments and about to talk at the same time. I'm sorry.
You can't appreciate Stephanie.
Oh,
you can appreciate Stephanie by purchasing her goddamn shirts and you haven't.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
Let me
sorry.
get to that. Okay. I have a lot of stuff to promote, so bear with me, guys. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy, like it says on the screen. Also support and listen to the Hardy Wrestling Podcast everywhere you get your shows, including Spotify and YouTube. I have my Black History Month collaboration series up with the first 3 episodes of this week with those Wrestling Girls Wrestling Podcast and the Wrestling Realm. Please check those out because it was a really
Jesus.
great time. We had a really great conversation on all those episodes, and we might have more before the month is out because yeah. Oh, thank you so much for watching that. Shout out to Alex, Queen of the Ring. It was fun being on her show. I loved it. um I was on that show, and then wow, what else am I doing? I also wrote an article on Janelle from the HR for Black Youth on www.talkpod.com as we highlight Black women in wrestling media who don't necessarily get a lot of, shine and praise. So I wrote an article about Janelle from the HR from Jobber Tears podcast. So please read that as well as the other articles that we've got going on. And yes, please buy my Alabama wrestling t-shirts, which are still on sale on foryourwear.com/Hardy Wrestling Podcast. And I'm also putting together designs for new t-shirts as well because I just had a creative idea, like 2 creative ideas today. So I'm going to be making more of those. So please just be on the lookout for that and just continue to support us as we continue to grow on this road to WrestleMania and beyond. And you can also catch me on Mondays on the WoW Superheroes After Show because WoW does come on tomorrow. Wherever you're at, in the midst of all the wrestling that's happening tomorrow, WoW Superheroes does come on. So please check them out if you have a chance. And check me out here on Friday nights with Driune, our editor in chief. So yeah, that's it. I think. Yeah, that's it.
As for me, I don't have much. It's gonna be like the announcements at church. So for me wise, of course, definitely make sure you check out the website. It is Black History Month, and this year we are celebrating Black women, Black content creators who dabble in wrestling content from all over, and we've been doing a really, really great job getting those out. We also have some theme pieces too coming out this week that I have to work on editing and stuff like that too. So I have a busy weekend, you guys. I really do. I've been keeping up on the 2K23 gaming's reports and stuff like that. So if you haven't checked those out too, they are up on the website. It is going to be up on the 2K ringside reports, and all you're going to see is nothing but me because I'm a gamer and I'm anticipating and ready for the game to come out, you guys. We gotta see if we can do some streaming on here for like the game or something for y'all, so you can see me knock some people out. So that's that there. Also, for me wise, for shows here in Women's Wrestling Talk, you know that tomorrow, like I said, is going to be the Elimination Chamber after show. On Sunday, it's going to be Battle in the Valley. It's going to be Nikki Bella Says I Do, and also it's going to be Turnbuckle Glam 2, all on Sunday that I will be on. I can beat up Bray Wyatt, but I'm not. I will beat up Uncle Howdy. On Monday, of course, is Monday Night Raw with me and Nikki, my tag partner, the Salt Shakers. Of course, we take over Monday Night Raw and Impact Wrestling 2 and other shows where we feel like we want to make our presence known. And you can also, like I said, Google me as always, Driune Santana, Drune. That's where you're gonna always find me. Last minute chamber predictions. Let's see. So Roman. I put Sami and Roman names together. Roman versus Sami. I'm going with Sami just for the hell of it. Who you guys think?
I'm going with Sami just for the heck of it too.
All right, so we have Bobby Lashley and we also have Brock Lesnar. I'm gonna go with Bobby Lashley.
Me too. I'm going with Bobby Lashley as well.
All right, so Beth Phoenix and Edge versus Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. I am gonna go with Finn and Rhea.
I am going with Edge and Beth because they need to get their look back, and Rhea needs to focus on what's actually going on instead of running around with this gang and get her life in order. You finna get ready to challenge Charlotte Flair, and you sitting up here running around with
She's
the
a leader of the
Judgment Day and
game.
with your boyfriend. No, it's time to focus, ma'am.
Listen, she's gonna be very focused, but she'll lead of the game. You know, mommy got duties to do. You know.
No. Nah.
Oh, good. Okay, so we have our 2 Elimination Chamber matches. So one for the United States Championship, Elimination Chamber. So we got Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, and Montez Ford. I'm going with 2 people. So my 2 people will be either Damian Priest or Montez Ford. Those are the 2 people that I'm going for.
I'm going for one person only, Montez Ford, because it is his time. Team Taz.
Yeah, child. All right. Stop. And then last but not least, our last Elimination Chamber match we have, of course, is going to be those who will have the opportunity to face Bianca Belair at WrestleMania for the Royal Rumble title. We have Asuka, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nikki Cross, Natalya, and Carmella. My 2 people that I'm choosing, is Asuka and Raquel.
Me too. I'm going with Asuka and Raquel as well.
All right. So those are our last minute chamber predictions. If you missed a prediction show that me and Nikki did, because we kind of went a little more in depth into who we were choosing and stuff like that, definitely go back to the Monday Night Raw show to check out me and Nikki's full in-depth predictions on that and stuff like that. Other than that, I see you guys are choosing to go with like Sami and Bobby, who, according to Brock, Edge and Beth, Damian, and then Asuka, but he's gonna go with Liv. So yeah, if you want to see more predictions, a little more in detail, then definitely check out the Monday Night Raw post show. But other than that, definitely make sure you guys continue to follow Women's Wrestling Talk, WW Talk POD, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitch, all our socials, everything like that. Chat with us, hang out with us. Nikki has been doing it, and Nikki has doing a bomb-ass job on Twitter, you guys. If all the tweets and stuff that's been going out, stuff like that, that's all Nikki. She's been handling Twitter. She's been doing an amazing job. So shout out to my tag partner. She's been doing great, and so I'm gonna salute her. Salute. So, but other than that, we do thank you guys so much for hanging out with us as always. And of course, we'll be back next week to talk about the aftermath of Elimination Chamber. So bye guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. Drink your water, because you don't want your urine to smell and come out looking like pee. All right, I'm done. Bye guys. Enjoy your night.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.